of the famous Rabbonim of yesteryear. And here we are on the 6th of Elul, marks the Hilula of a great Italian rabbi, Rabbi Shimshon, Haim, Nachmani, Zeche Tzadik Libracha. He was actually born in the English year 1706 and passed away in 1779, to be precise, on the 18th of August, naturally, Vav Elul, the 6th of Elul. He was a great rabbi, he was a Kabbalist, Mekubal, and he wrote great works also, and he was one of the great rabbis of Italy, especially during the 18th century. He would become the rabbi of various different Kehilot, congregations, especially in the northern part of Italy in of itself, and was great rabbis of the Kehillah of the country in of itself. And in his memory, the great book, the Tezrah Shimshon, was actually published in Mantua, if I'm not mistaken. So he was born in an area called Modena in Italy and came from very great heritage also. His father was נחmani, and his mother was actually the daughter of Rabbi Yehuda Matzliach Padua, another great rabbi who we've spoken about before. And I think he himself was rabbi of the congregation of Modena. Also, Modena had a very great community, which we have spoken about on previous occasions before. And he actually learned under the auspices of a great Austrian rabbi. I believe his name was Rabbi Ephraim Cohen Lipschitz, also, who was a really great rabbi over there. And he learned in the area of Mantua from the great rabbi, Rabbi David Pinchi, also another great rabbi. I think he happened to be a close relative of the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, the famous author of the famous book, the Mesilat Yerushalayim, and also another rabbi he learned from, Rabbi Aviad Shar Shalom Bazila, also, who happened to be the author of the colossal Torah work called the Ha'emunat Chachamim. And he also learned, I think, Kabbalah through auspices of another great rabbi, Rabbi Benjamin HaKohen Vitali, also, who was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of the great rabbis of Rizhou and Mila. This was a part of, let's say, northern part of Italy, respectively. And after he learned in Mantua, he actually moved to an area called Pisa, over there. This specific part in Italy had a great Torah community. Also, I think it's just by the lake and by the oceans or the waters of Italy in of itself. And he, at that point in time, started teaching many, many great Talmidim also, and spread Torah all over to the throngs of the public. And he then would actually move to an area called Saina, I think, which is, I think that's another part of the Tuscana, very close to Tuscana, if I'm not mistaken, in Italy also. And he would come and return to the city where he was born in Modena shortly afterwards and become the rabbi of the congregation over there, and would actually become the head of the Beit Knesset there, respectively. Then in the year 1733, at that stage in time, he was about 27 years of age. He got married to Rabbanit Devora, who happened to be, I believe, the daughter of Rabbi Ephraim Pontanilla, who happened to be also a very great rabbi. Then in the year 1739, after, I believe, Rabbi Yeshayahu Mordechai Sa'an passed away, I think, he actually became, if I'm not mistaken, the rabbi of the congregation over there. He was appointed to be the minister over there in that specific area of Rajo Amila also. And over there, he actually was very, very diligent and started writing various different works, especially on Kabbalah. And Rabbi Nachmani was appointed, I think, afterwards, the rabbi of various different cities in Italy, very, very prominent position. I think also in the area of Sinai, which we spoke about also before. And he became, like, everyone considered him to become the expert when it came to various different topics inside the Torah, also with regards to Kabbalah, and just pretty much everything with regards to Halacha. He actually was seen to be more on the Machmir, the more strict side of Halacha, where it was has to be pointed out also, but he could be, but he would paskin accordingly in many different occasions. He taught many great students over there, I think, including the famous rabbi who was among his galaxy of chavrutot, let's just say, or in the same sphere as him, Rabbi David Tzchot. I know we spoke about Rabbi David Tzchot, I think, last month. He himself was, if I'm not mistaken, was a rabbi and also author of various books inside the area of Modena, also respectively, and was one of the great rabbis of Italy also. And during his life, he actually spread Torah to many of various different Talmudim, and he worried about the needs of the congregation in of itself. And he was also a great darshan. He gave great sermons, and he also dealt with writing various different songs, poems, poetry. That many of these countries, they dealt with poetry. They sang poetry. They composed songs based on various different Jewish wisdom and Torah wisdom. Also, within regards to various different spheres of Torah. Also, I think also it says over here, I think he authored the song which at the time of the Chatzunah, the wedding of the famous Ramchal, if I'm not mistaken. Also, his brother was Rabbi Shmuel, who I believe was also a great Talmud, who had a connection with Rabbi Haim Ibn Attar, who happened to be one of the great rabbis, one of the great of the time of the Achronim, in of itself, respectively, and probably one of the greatest posek halachas also at his point in time, also known as the author of the Orach Chaim Kadosh. And which is very, very interesting enough. Okay, so he passed away in July or August 1779. He passed away, it was reported over, and I think he actually died in Brojo Mila, that specific area also. And it's actually interesting, I believe books were actually printed from his teachings, if I'm not mistaken, also. There was a sefer, which was actually, I think, that was brought about, printed after his lifetime. I think the Chida, Rabbi Haim Yosef David Adzulay, the great rabbi, Moroccan rabbi who was spoken before, has actually mentioned him in his book, the Shem Hagdolim, and also wrote, I'll quote it in Hebrew, Shamati shua baki b'kabbalah, ma'asit b'tziva lignos, kol sifro b'kavro. If I'm not mistaken, that's what he wrote over there. And much more can be said. So which books did he actually, was actually published of his teachings, including the Toldot Shimshon? This was based on Mesechet Avot, the Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers, as they say. I think this was printed in Livorno in the Hebrew year. Hey, Taf, Kuf, Chaf, Vav. Then there was a Zera Shimshon, probably the book he was most well known for his teachings on, which was on the 5 books of the Torah, and also on the 5 Megillot, also respectively. That was printed in Mantuba in the year Hey, Taf, Kuf, Lamed Chet. And I think it was printed in various other places also, if I'm not mistaken. I think in Brooklyn, actually, in New York, in the year Hey Tav Shin Lamatei. Then there was Korban Ketoret, also another book, which was his various different songs that had been printed. I'm not too sure. So that itself wasn't printed in his lifetime, but I think it was printed, or to some degree, at a later stage, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's commemorative things in his memory. Obviously, we know the Zera Shimshon. There's also a street called the Zera Shimshon in Jerusalem, also that has to be pointed out, and very, very great things. So please don't forget to light candles in his memory, who was one of the great rabbis at the time of the Ramchal, the great rabbis, the author of the Zera Shimshon and the Toldot Shimshon. And please, Vav Elul, Isisilola, wishing all a good day. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the videos, and share with everyone else. So wishing you blessings from Israel, and take care.